Hi there, Ruth Hess here. I am back with another video after 3 months, and this time this video is actually a new video that I'm putting on here on my YouTube platform. For some of you who've been following me, you know what I represent, you know the kind of things that I teach about, but you will know why I wiped out all my video, all my social media videos, reels, shorts, and all those different types of videos in a few minutes as I share what I'm about to share with you. So, I was the kind of person who strongly believed that I would never get chronically ill or end up with a disease that just put me in the hospital bed and completely impair my life or stop my life. I was so confident in my health, just before the 3 months that I'm about to talk about that I went through. I was so confident in my health. I was doing yoga, I was exercising, I was drinking lots of water, I was doing all these self-care, self-love, giving myself what I need, and I was pretty in control of my life. I knew that yes, my life is not perfect, but I'm in control. I'm gonna change things, I'm gonna improve things. I determine my future, I can improve my mindset. I was this kind of person. But these past 3 months that I went through that I'm about to tell you have completely humbled me, and it taught me that anything can happen. We never know. So I got humbled, friends. I really got humbled, and I'm going to open up. I'm a bit nervous to share this, to be honest, because it's the past 3 months. It's very recent, but I strongly have it in my heart to share these experiences with you, because you might be we all are going through something in our lives. You might be battling an illness. You might be going through depression. You might be trying to overcome or dealing with some kind of trauma in your life that is really affecting where you are in your life. You might be battling addictions. You might be having deep secrets in your heart that are literally feeding inside of you, and you just don't know or are afraid to talk about such things, tormenting things that are going through in your mind, in your body, or in your life, or some kind of pain. This is why I want to share this story with you, and I want to share with you the real truth of this beautiful thing called life that I learned. So let's go back 3 months before. This was beginning of March. I remember this. It was the 3rd of March. And I remember it was a Wednesday, I think. I was shooting content in the afternoon just before picking up my kids, so I was just rushing through the content, and I was disturbed by my head. I had a pain in the temples here that just felt like tension, this irritating eye strain kind of headache that one can get. So I just thought that, okay, it's the lighting behind the camera, because I'm shooting all this content. It's just bothering my eyes and it's giving me this headache, or maybe I'm pushing myself too much, or maybe I'm too anxious. Anyway, let me go through this content. And it just wasn't working. The content I was producing was just confusing me even more. I was forgetting stuff. And so, I just stopped everything, and it was almost time to pick up my kids. So I popped in some painkillers for my headache to go away, and got in the car and drove to pick up my kids. Picked up my kids from school, and as we were walking out of the gate, my jaw locked. And it's like this pain here traveled all the way down to here, and it just caused even more tension, to a point where when I tried to open my mouth wide, it was very, very painful and stiff. So then I was talking like this in my teeth, and I was like, okay, kids in the car, all right, put on your seatbelts, let's get home. And I just I put myself together, I sucked it up, and I was like, the main aim is to get home, to drink water, to lay down, and just allow these meds to really kick in. They didn't kick in, because I texted my husband, and I was like, I told him that I just don't feel really well. I just want to bath the kids and probably take it easy tonight. No preparing anything nice for dinner, or just something simple. So I was running the kids' bath water. And during that moment when I was running the kids' bath water, I felt dizzy. And so I stopped and I thought to myself, there's no way I can bath the kids like this. Then the pain got all over my head. I could feel it in the back of my head, everywhere, like my whole head felt so much pain, and it came with dizziness. And then I had a feeling of being lightheaded and sort of almost like I was about to pass out. So I laid on the couch quickly, and you know this feeling when you're kind of drowsy and you're getting in and out of sleep and you keep waking up, that was what I was feeling, but it wasn't a sleepy feeling. It was like passing out, and I was forcing myself to kind of stay awake. I asked my son to get me a towel and put it in water, and then he was just running around, and I was like, okay, just get me water. And then he got me water in a glass, and I used a small towel to just kind of pet myself and fan myself to keep myself awake. I texted my husband and said, look, we have to go to the hospital. I really don't feel well. So he came, we rushed to the hospital, and they treated me at the hospital, and I was just waiting for the doctor to just finally tell me what's going on. And then she just said, I have a migraine. It seems to be migraine from the symptoms that I'm experiencing. And so, I was like, okay, migraines, is that headaches? I was so confused because I was new to this thing called migraine. So I was able to go home that evening, and I was Googling. I was just like on Google, what is this migraine? Where does it come from? I was listening to other people's stories. I'm like, okay, this seems to be something that's very common, so I could work through it, right? It got worse the next days. The medication did not work that I was given by the hospital. So I went to a physiotherapist. Didn't work. I went to two doctors to just get two different opinions. One said I need a massage, I might be stressed, and just prescribe more medication. I was quite offended. Massage? You're telling me I need a massage because I have headache? Anyway, another doctor said it could be caused by stress. I don't know why they were thinking so much about stress, but yes, it can cause headaches. But I was like, I'm the last person to be stressed. Do you know what I do for a living? So yeah, they just prescribed all these painkillers and muscle relaxants and stuff. I took the meds, but they didn't really help. Matter of fact, the condition was it kept getting worse. And when I say worse, I would have a blurry eye vision, from different moments of blurry eye vision, pain in my neck and my whole head. And I finally reached out to a specialist, a neurologist, and finally got his details and went to this neurologist for a checkup. And I told him my experience. And in that first session that I had with him, he gave me 10 injections in my head. I'll share a picture right now of what it looked like. That's the swelling from the 10 injections all around my head. It was from here and down here and in the back as well. In the back. It was painful. It was something that I thought, okay, I need this because he's the specialist, I just trusted him because this is just too much for me to deal with. That pain of the injections was far, far less than the pain of the migraines I was experiencing. Yes, after the injections, I was okay for the next, let's say 3 days. I was okay. I felt little head pain, but it wasn't too much. I could still operate, but I couldn't work. I couldn't write. I couldn't use my phone because the light on my phone would trigger this head pain. So this medicine he injected me with, just in case you're wondering what it is, it's called a nerve blocker. So it basically blocks the nerves from sending signals to the brain that there's pain, right? But it only worked for 3 days. 3 days. And I read online that this stuff is supposed to work for a couple of weeks or months, from what I understood. And I was so confused. And then it got really bad. I was on all these medications given by the neurologist and doctors. And there was this one night I was laying in bed. It was actually around 8 or to 9 p.m. I was laying in bed and in the dark, of course, because when there's light, it would trigger the head pain to become worse. But then it was towards the end of March. And I was laying in bed and I started to feel this faintness again, like falling, like I'm about to pass out again, and the head pain, and it felt like my head was being pressed so hard, like someone was pressing it so hard. And I just called my son to get me some ice so that I could put it on my head like this. And then I called my husband and said, look, call an ambulance. And he's like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? How do you feel? What's going on? And I said, I don't know what's going on. My heart is pounding. I'm struggling to breathe, and my head hurts. I hurt everywhere. I could hardly walk. So he rushed me to the hospital. It was at night with my kids. Rushed to the hospital, and I remember as we were reversing out the driveway, I opened my eyes and I saw the lights flashing on the house as we were reversing out the driveway. And I'll never forget thinking, is this the last time I see my home? And so he drove me to the hospital, and during that drive, it's like a 10 to 15 minute drive to the hospital. Well, it was 10 because he was rushing. And I kept closing my eyes and opening my eyes and closing my eyes and opening my eyes. And there was a moment when I opened my eyes and I saw, these billboards, these digital billboards that are always sending messages or advertising stuff. It said in bold capital letters, it was written Jesus. And I don't know what else it said. I think there was more letters that came after, or not letters, words. But I focused, or I paid attention more to that word, Jesus. And then I thought in my mind, when was the last time I prayed? I'm going through this. Maybe I should pray. And so I just said a little prayer in my heart as we were on the way to the hospital. We got to the hospital and my husband drove back with the kids to our home, and I stayed in hospital. They ran some more tests, all kinds of tests, blood tests, urine tests. What else do they test? This blood pressure. They tested my heart as well. Everything was okay, but I wasn't. I was in so much pain, and they gave me a shot. They gave me in my drip, they put some more medication, and some of the medication I don't even remember. And I asked the doctor towards the end of that treatment, I said, what is happening? Why did I have this? And she said, it seems to be a migraine attack. I'm like, okay, if this is what a migraine attack looks like, I didn't know. And so I was admitted into hospital because I could hardly walk. And the nurse said, no, if you are like this, there's no way you can go home and take care of yourself. There's no way. I could not walk. And in that hospital, I was for about 3 days. And it got really, really bad in the middle of my stay. I felt like I was getting worse the longer I stayed there, emotionally, physically, mentally. When I say physically, I couldn't get out, I couldn't get up of my bed. Whenever I turned from one side to the other, my head felt so heavy and the pain was so intense that it felt like it paralyzed my entire body. Even lifting my arms, I felt so weak. Just texting my relatives was so much effort that I needed to do that. So I was just sending voice messages, and it was lonely. I felt like, is this the last time? Every evening I would ask myself, am I gonna make it till tomorrow? So the day before I was taken out of hospital, I had my worst experience, and that was just the fear of not being able to get up out of bed. You know, the nurses had to bring me a potty. I felt embarrassed, but you know, I needed to do what I needed to do. I felt at my weakest, and I felt again this feeling of passing out. It gave me so much anxiety that I started trembling, and in my mind I was thinking that, what's going on with my body? Is this it? So I started trembling, and I called the nurses, and she just checked what did she check? I don't even remember. Was it my heartbeat or my pulse rate? I don't know, but it was super high. And I asked her, is everything okay? And she said no. And she said, please, Ruth, try to relax. This is not good that you are reacting this way. There's nothing wrong with you, but you like the state that I was in was really tormenting me. And she felt so afraid for me and just said, Ruth, I invite you to just pray. Sometimes all you need is God. You know, that was the nurse telling me this. And then again, I'm like, oh, when was the last time I really prayed? But I couldn't think of that because I'm going through something right now. There's so much anxiety and fear, and like I was just battling something in that hospital bed. She's like, okay, then look at your kids. Do you have kids? Look at videos, do something, listen to music, focus on something else, and stop focusing on what you're going through right now, because this is not good for you. Oh my goodness. So I tried everything. I could hardly hold my phone because I was trembling, and I didn't know what was going on with my body. My heart was pounding so heavily, I could hear it through my ears. I could hardly see. My eyesight, what do you call this? I had a little bit of a blurry eye, dizziness, pain, everything at once, like more painkillers than I asked for. Anxiety meds, they gave me that. I was still anxious. It felt like nothing was working for me. And I think that's what really scared me the most. And I just couldn't stop thinking about, what if this is the last time? So I called my mom and my grandma. They were together actually, and I just asked them to start praying for me because I didn't have the words to say. I couldn't think of what to say because I'd been so far from God for so long that I didn't know how I could talk to him again. Better did I know that this was him calling me. My grandma and my mom started praying over the phone, and I could hear words that they were saying that were speaking to my heart, directly to my heart. And after that, I started to slowly calm down and ease up. I thanked them at the end. And then after I put the phone aside, I started confessing everything in my heart, apologizing for being so far from God. And I literally called him. I called him in the middle of this turmoil that I was going through in the hospital. And I just started calling him. And the more that I called him, the more that I thought about the reasons why, how dare I call him after turning away from him. And I said, Lord, I'm sorry for turning away from you. I was doing this. I'm so of myself. I had so much pride. I was worried about my own self. I was self-sufficient. I didn't lean on you. You know, I was saying all the stuff that I was carrying in my heart. And I just started confessing all those wrongful doings, like turning away from God, like focusing on stuff like law of attraction and focusing on you are your thoughts, you can control your life. And I said, Lord, I'm letting go of all of that right now. If you can just please show up. And then I just felt a strong presence. I don't know, it just felt like all those anxieties and negative thoughts just went away, and there was a stillness that I could sense in the atmosphere. I am not even someone to sense such things, but I could literally sense like, and I just rejoiced in my heart and just had so much joy in my heart, even though I was in that space or in that predicament. And that's when everything changed for me. I didn't know that God still loved me. After turning away from Him for such a long time and just indulging in other teachings and, working as a coach, I learned so much about the brain and how we can use our mind to control not control our circumstances, but to manage our circumstances to get to a place where we want to be in life, success and gaining certain things and wealth and, being the impact for people and teaching things like you are the one who can control your life, you can take your future and you can redesign your life, redesign yourself and get to a place where you've always wanted to be, desires of your heart, what. All those things that I was practicing and also teaching. Better did I know that that was not the truth. That was not the truth. And I just want to apologize for teaching you that you are the one who is in control of your life. This is what I believed until I was humbled and God showed me that only He who gives life to us, who created life, is in control. But He loves us so much. He allows certain things like this to happen so that we lean more onto Him and depend on Him. That's all He wants. He just wants to be close to us. Let Him take care of the rest. But we are here trying to be in control. I loved being in control. Like I was like, I've got this thing, I can fight. But better did I know that this was actually pulling me further away from God. And that's what pulled me so far away to a point where there was a time where I put my Bible in a box. And I was following teachings of other coaches that I looked up to, successful women. They look like they have everything together. And they were teaching things about changing your mind, changing your mindset, changing your state, how you can create happiness inside of you, how you can create your own joy, you can change the world, you can save people, you can transform people. But those things were lies. But I thought it was the truth. And when I say the truth, I thought that this was not the truth. Those teachings were the truth. That's why I put this old Bible of mine in that I used to read a lot in the box. And what I really want to say is, still above all these things that I did and even was teaching and even was practicing for myself, the meditations, the chakra balancing, the crystals for heat, like I was wearing crystals because I believed that they could the energy of crystals could really enhance my performance, my speaking, my voice, all these kind of things. Man, I will share another video on the things that I really got involved in that I feel like this is also a video on its own, but I want to really give you awareness of the teachings of this world that are pulling us further from God, the teachings of this world that are deceiving us and actually ruining us when we are not even aware that we have actually we have actually opened a door where the enemy can get through and have a negative influence or steal or destroy our lives or destroy us, right? I will share a little bit about that in another video. But what I really want to share is, I'm still holding on to the Bible. When I got home from that hospital, I rushed to open my box and just grab onto this. And I hugged it like this. I was like, how could I? How could I? How could I put this in a box? I was lied to. The truth is God, Jesus is the truth, the way, and the life. And He is the way, not these things. So I turned to Him. I said, Lord, I want you back in my life. I want to rededicate my life for you. I want you to take over my life and do whatever you want with it, because I am not in control anymore. I don't want to be in control. I just want to lean on to you, because when I felt your presence in that hospital room, I had never felt that true joy for such a long time. That is true joy. Not joy of success, not joy of wealth, that's not joy. That's, it's happiness, but it's not truly fulfilling, because we try to fill a void in our hearts by seeking some kind of material things or what we see on social media as defined happiness. But really that void is the only thing that God can fill in. And ever since I have allowed Him into my life, He healed me. Every step and every walk I was taking with Him, He healed me. I was sharing with you how the medication wasn't working. Ever since I gave my life to Christ, my condition was fading away day by day. I was getting stronger. I was getting happier. I was feeling so much joy each and every day. It felt like He recharged me. And here's one thing that I want to share with you. If you are going through some kind of pain or turmoil, or like where I was a few months ago, something that you're trying to fight by your own will, God doesn't want you to, God doesn't want you to deal with that alone. He wants to take it away from you, but you need to give it to Him. Foxy! God loves you so much. And the truth is, God is so close to each and every one of us. It was amazing for me how quick I could feel His presence just when I called His name for help in that hospital bed. How quick, after all the things that I've been doing, turning away from Him, putting my Bible in a box, and just thinking that I don't need Him because I can control my own life and I can manifest all these things in my life, that I don't need Him. He was so quick to come when I called Him. And this brings me to the verse in Psalm 145, verse 18, that God is near to all who call on Him. He's near to all, not the perfect, not the ones who go to church every Sunday, not the ones who hardly commit any sin, not the ones who are preaching out there, the pastors, the ministers, or those who are serving the church. He said all. That includes you and me, my friend. That also included me, the one who actually thought that she didn't need him at all. I was so prideful. And that made me feel his love, his true love. I also want to share one more verse in Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. It says, he says that he wants you to give him your burden. That's your pain. That's whatever is affecting you in your life. That's whatever is giving you anxiety or fear or anything that is affecting you in your life. Oppressions, addictions, things that are tormenting and affecting your heart, secrets of your heart that you are even afraid to speak or think about because it brings you back that trauma. He wants you to give it to him. And in return, he gives you his burden. And he says that his burden is light. He says that his yoke is easy. So, what are we doing with our burdens? Why don't we just give them? It's free to just simply give it to him, voice it to him, acknowledge it first in your heart, and God knows your heart anyway, and just say, this is what I'm going through, Lord, but I choose to give it to you. Another verse, I forgot where it is, but it's coming up for me. I'll type it down. It says, cast your anxieties onto him because he cares. He cares for us. He loves us and he wants us to draw nearer to him. That's all. And then he can take care of the rest so that you live the purposeful life that he has brought you here for. And that's what's happening to me right now. That's why I deleted all my social media videos, because I was doing that from a place where I thought that I was in control, that I was in control of this thing called life. But I was wrong. Matter of fact, I was wrong to also teach others that they can control their own life. And I just want to deeply, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, just apologize and say sorry for teaching you that you are the one who can be in control of your life and shift your life to where you want it to be, or change yourself. You are the one to change yourself to be whoever you want to be. You can manifest this, you can manifest that by changing this thought patterns in you. He is the truth, the way, and the life. And this is why I'm here to share this, and let this be a new journey that you and I take together. In the next videos, I'm going to be sharing all things that can help you and I'm going to be sharing in my journey as well, as I just develop my faith, that we grow together and share with you all the things that I've been practicing as well, to really restore my faith, to really help me get to just be at this place where the faith can move mountains, literally, where the faith can really transform the way that you feel about yourself as well, where you get to see yourself through God's eyes as just this perfect, worthy, wonderful person that he has created, and just be the person that God has created you to be. That's not a place for me to teach you or tell you who he wants you to be. That's for you to find out for yourself with your own personal relationship with him. This channel is not going to be a place where I teach religious things, do's and don'ts. No. This is going to be a place where we walk together in faith to build a personal relationship with God, because that's all He wants. He wants a personal relationship with you and Him. And He wants you to give Him your life so that He can be in control and guide you. So I want us to open up our hearts more and more to Him and just receive Him in our lives, right? There's someone who's watching this video and thinking, I'm just so far from God. I've been involved in these addictions and temptations for way too long. I don't even know if I can let go of my addiction or my ways of partying and getting drunk, because I don't know if I can, stop that. Or maybe there's something in your heart that you feel guilty and shameful about, that you don't even think that God could even want to be close to you because of that. There might be someone watching this video feeling like God's punishing you for what you are doing or what you have done, where you cannot even forgive yourself. So how could God forgive you? Just take it from me. Let me be a walking testimony. I told you that I had turned from God and literally almost threw my Bible away. I just put it in a storage box. I was already depending on things like crystals and meditations and videos that turned me further away from God and said that, no, you can be your own God. And I was like doing things to satisfy myself. And let me just be a living testimony, because I've also been at that place where I thought I almost lost my life. I had a chronic illness that the doctor could not even see. No, I had a chronic illness that the doctor could not even that the doctor had no proof, let me say. He had no proof. It wasn't showing in the MRI scans and everything, but it was chronically tormenting me. And I completely got free of that like a miracle. The doctor said I could suffer with this for months, but now look. And let me just be that living testimony. I know that this video was long, but I hope that this softened your heart just as much as it humbled and softened mine too. Let us just have that openness to the one who created us, because the one who created you for a reason. You wouldn't still be here if He didn't believe in you. You wouldn't still be here if He still wanted you to build a relationship with Him. That's all that the Lord wants, that you give Him your life and say, Jesus, I desire this, I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with that, I'm struggling with this, but just carry my burden, Lord. Lord, I also want you to come into my heart. And I believe, Jesus, that you died for me on the cross, and that you rose on the third day, and that you sacrificed your life for these things, these sins that I've committed, these burdens in my life. You sacrificed your life, Jesus, for that. And through me receiving you, Lord, you have saved me from all these things. I choose first to believe that. That's all you need. And then ask Him to give you faith, because the Holy Spirit's gift is faith. I'll put the verse here for you to find out for yourself. If you struggle to have faith, simply ask. If you struggle with something, ask. We have a direct line. Every one of us has, no matter what we're going through, no matter what we did three minutes ago, that we feel like, oh, God doesn't like this. How can I ask Him for forgiveness now? He's gonna think, The enemy's tactic is to take you away from God. The enemy's tactic is to distract you from God. So he will tell you, how can you do this? How dare you do this? God does not like this, so he cannot like you. Don't listen to any of those lies. Listen to the truth, the way, and the life, which is this one. Remember that you are worthy, you are valuable, and you are so important. And Jesus loves you.